Hey guys, welcome to our huddle for tonight. I had to record this just a little earlier in the day for all of you because I had something come up that I need to help my husband with tonight. So I wanted to make sure I did this. There was a lot of requests for this. I really wanted to actually interview some people who've been doing a really good job at this. It's just not working out schedule wise to get that accomplished fast enough. We're still going to do that, but I just wanted to get this topic kind of covered because we've been having extreme success with these three-way chats. Okay. And I don't want to slow down that momentum, but I also know that there's been some questions and some things that I've run into over the last few days with people doing the three-way chats that I want to make sure we understand how to do them, how we can transition into them easily, some of the do's, some of the don'ts, some of the reasons for them that you might not even be realizing are reasons for them. Okay. So we've got this amazing board of scripts now that can run you through a funnel process of somebody who's just wanting to take a look at the product to somebody that's wanting to take a look at the business and all of the things in between. What I don't want you guys to do is use those scripts and never feel like you need to have that third party validation. Bringing in that third party really does seal the deal. And I know that a lot of people, including myself, will think, well, they're my friends or they're my family or this person's known me since high school. So they're going to listen to me before they're going to listen to a total stranger. That is the first point where we are wrong when we think that. For whatever reason, when we bring in that third party, they look at them as, especially if they're introduced correctly, they look at them as the authority, the person who knows more, the person who has the answers. It doesn't take anything away from you. It actually does the opposite. It backs you up. It validates, third party validation, what you've been saying to your friend or your family all along. Or maybe you haven't even been saying a whole lot, but two people in a chat helping one person does a number of things. It helps it helps validate the information you've already given them, but it also gives them a second set of eyes on them. They get to realize they're doing this as a team and they're not just doing this by themselves. So one thing I can tell you is that if you put somebody through that whole funnel process, and number one, they're looking at and seeing now the tools that they would have at their fingertips. And maybe this is just somebody who is looking to thrive and maybe thrive for free. They're not necessarily looking to become a promoter, but you have no idea the people who in the back of their head are going, I wonder if I could actually do what Jessica does. I wonder if I could actually do what Leah does. I'm wondering if I could do actually what Sydney does. And they're not going to necessarily tell you that. But one thing that's going to happen through the process of this is they're going to see how simple you make it, how duplicatable you make it. Even if they're not sitting there with a notepad trying to like check those things off, right? They don't even know that that's what they want yet. But if they have any inclination in the back of their head that this is something they might want to do, and or maybe it's not something they do want to do right now, but times change for them 6 months down the road or 3 months down the road, a year down the road, job loss, health concerns, who you name it, you have no idea what shifts in people's lives. And they can remember how you took them through this process and that you had someone there helping you through the whole thing. So they would have somebody helping them through the whole thing too. So you have to remember that when we're doing third-party validation, the minor of it is getting the validation. The major of it is that people are getting to see that if they wanted to do this too, they wouldn't have to do it on their own. And that's a big deal. So I wanted to make sure that I covered that. When we're going through all these funnels and flows and processes and scripts, I don't want you to rely on the scripts and not rely on that third-party validation. So what I have done is grabbed, or I made a new board called third-party intro scripts. After this training, I'm going to take it and add it into our regular scripts boards, just like I did the sales funnel the other night, so that you guys will have kind of how I would suggest you intro into a third party chat. Because I think that's 80% of the problem is that we don't know where to insert the third party. So I've made it really simple for you in a couple of easy scripts. And obviously you'll have to edit these and make them yours. right? Or you can use exactly what they say, maybe add some words, subtract some words. You're going to have to change the names in it because I added names in it. But you can introduce somebody into a three-way chat very quickly by before they even have a sample. I will tell the story of Natalie Wood, who's a newer promoter in Canada, who puts me in a three-way chat with every single person she talks to about Thrive. She's not giving them an option. And you'll see in these scripts that I gave you that we're not giving them an option either. We're just telling them we're going to add this person that has the answers. You don't even have to say, hey, is it okay if I start a chat with, you just need to say, I put it in here a couple of times. Great question, Sally. I'm going to throw my friend Leah in this chat because she always has the best answers to that question. Boom, throw. And I know that you're not going to necessarily add them to that chat that you've been in. You're going to create a new chat, but that's not going to matter at that point. They've already been told that you're going to be adding this person into a chat with them. Okay. And then what you need to do, what needs to happen next is you need to introduce your third party to your prospect. Tell just a tiny bit, don't go over the top about this, right? So what Natalie does is puts a voice clip in there every single time she throws somebody in a three-way chat with me. Hey, Jess, this is my friend Sarah. She was just asking about my DFT. She's struggling with energy. And I told her that you could help her and tell her what Thrive is and about the 3 steps. Boom, done. That's it. Okay. And then I come back in with, oh, I would love to help. It's nice to virtually meet you. I might send a voice clip. I might type that out. And then I say, let me get you this really quick video first that tells you what Thrive is and how to take it. And then let's see what questions that you have. Boom, I send the video about what is Thrive. Boom, I send the video of what to take, and all that stuff's in your board, you guys. It's in a lot of those scripts. Then we keep moving the chat forward after that and getting them in order. And then we just use the rest of the scripts that are in there. And I'm using a lot of them as the third-party validator in there. Okay. So you and your third party, okay, let me go to another subject. Okay. Because this is an important one because I've seen this happen a lot. Okay. This is a do not with third-party chats. And the first time I learned about why not to do this was when we still did three-way calls. Okay. So these three-way chats are so much easier than three-way calls, you guys, by the way. It is like so less time consuming, and just be super glad that you were not really, well, maybe you were trying to build this back when we were building it with three-way calls, but oh my gosh, I mean, my day was packed. Every 30 minutes was another call. And then it was frustrating because when people wouldn't show up to those calls or whatever, then you would like have had a half hour of your day wasted. It was frustrating. Okay. These three-way chats are so much easier. So one of the biggest do nots, okay, when you get the third party in that chat, you need to zip it. That's the nicest way I can say it. Zip it. If you're going to put me in a three-way chat, you're asking me to validate. That means you stop selling and I start. Okay. So if you're putting people in three-way chats and you're still doing all the talking, you're not doing it correctly. That is not what these are meant for. And it's kind of a waste of time for your third-party validator, because if you were just going to do it all by yourself, you should have done it all by yourself, which we don't want you to do. And that's not what works. Putting your prospect in a third-party chat and then you doing all the talking is defeating the purpose of allowing the third party to come in and validate it to be true, validate the product, tell their story possibly, because maybe it's a similar story, and it's not allowing them to see how easy this is, that they would have other people helping them because you're still doing all the work. So the biggest don't for a third-party validation call or chat is that you, as the person bringing the two people to the table, you kind of silently take a step back and you let the third-party validator go do their thing. Okay. You can pop in and just say, yeah, I agree. Or yes, that's what happened to me. Or, small snippets so your person knows that you're still there. And if your person doesn't answer, of course, you want to pop back in and say, hey, Sally, you still interested in learning a little bit more about the 3 steps? Hey, Sally, have you gotten a chance to watch that video she sent? Hey, Sally. Those are about the the most you should be doing in one of those chats. You should not be explaining how to take Thrive. You should not be telling your story at this point. You should not be trying to explain the business model. You should not be explaining why you're doing the business. You should not be doing any of that. The third party validator is the one that you brought in to lift the heavy equipment. Okay. So I wanted to get that one. I wanted that one to be really strongly understood. Okay. Another thing I ran across the other morning when we were talking about a third party chat, you don't need to set up times. I've had a couple people try to do this with me where they want to put somebody in a three-way chat, and then they get us in a three-way chat and they want to set a time to chat in there. You know, that's the beautiful thing about three-way chats, you guys. You don't have to do that. So you're just saying, hey, Sally, I'm going to add Leah to this chat. She's going to help us. You add her to the chat. Leah introduces herself. You introduce the two people. Leah introduces herself, and everyone just gets to talk back and forth when the timing is right for them. Because what is the best thing about this? When we used to set third-party calls and we'd set aside maybe 15 to 30 minutes to do those, to run through everything, sometimes people wouldn't show up, and then you had to try to reschedule it, and you couldn't get back to them sometimes. Like, you couldn't get them to reschedule it because they didn't like setting 30 minutes of their day out. And so those became kind of a problem, right? So let's not recreate that problem by trying to set up a time that we have to chat in there. No one has to. That's the great thing about messenger chats or even text message chats. I don't really care for the text message chats, and I'll try to remember to tell you that in just a second. But no time frames need to be set. Susie might work midnights, where your validator might work an 8 to 5. Right. So they're available at different times, which is why this works so well, because everyone can pop in there when it works for them. Now, we always hope that they don't take that long to get through, but sometimes they do, because people are on opposite schedules. And think about this, guys, we're trying to build a global brand, right? We're trying to build a global business. Do you think that three-way calls, talking on the phone, and setting appointments when you're trying to bring people on in Southeast Asia is going to work? No, we need these chats. I will tell you a story really quick about back in, see, now I already forgot what I was going to write down and give you guys a note on what that was. Okay, let me tell the story. Maybe I'll remember it. Should I go write this down over here on the side? Because I'm going to forget. Back when we had a very large Spanish speaking team coming on board, that was difficult. Okay. The chats were necessary. We could not do phone calls. Okay. So I had to Google translate what they were saying to me, and then take all of what I wanted to say back to them, put it in Google Translate, and ship it off and back into the chat. That is how we built that team. We didn't have a choice, because we only had one person that really spoke English and Spanish, like, fluently. And in order to do that, we needed to have those chats. So that will happen again. And the more we use the chat situation rather than trying to hop on calls, the better off we are. The other thing I'm going to say, and I'm still trying to remember what that piece of information was that I was going to give you guys. The other thing that I'll say is, we've set these scripts up to take the necessity of having a meeting or a call or a Zoom out of the equation. And I know some of you are probably like, well, I mean, my person really, before they're going to jump on board, would really like to have a call or a face-to-face. I'm not saying don't do those if it's necessary. What I am saying is, most people want to see that they can fit this in the cracks of their day. So if you're trying to set up in-person meetings to close the deal, if you're trying to set up in-person Zooms to close the deal, if you're trying to set up like a scheduled time frame to close the deal, remember what you're duplicating in their brain. Wow, I just don't really have time to do this. I can't get on in person and talk on Zoom to people to close deals like this. I can't, every person that would want to come on, have to give them all the training tools and all the things. That's why we set all this stuff up. If you follow the process, you really shouldn't have to do any of that. You should be able to pretty fluently run through the process and bring somebody all the way on board. And I'm not saying there's not going to be an instance where you need to get on a Zoom or chat through some things with a person before they decide to jump on board. 100%. Sometimes we need to do that. But what I am saying is a lot. I'll say 100% of Natalie's Canadian team that has just recently come on, and 100% of Mueva Fitness, Jess Helseth that owns Mueva Fitness. We did not do any Zooms or three-way calls or any of that to bring any of those people on. It was all done via Messenger and or text when necessary. Oh, yes. Text was the thing I was going to tell you guys about. Here's why I don't like using text. On Messenger, when you add me to a third-party validation chat with somebody, I can go check them out really quick, and I always do. I always go and see who that person is, what do they do, what can I see, how much is public, how many friends do they have, how easy or how hard is this going to be for them. I do a once over every time you guys add me to a three-way chat. I want to know who I'm talking to. They also might want to see me, the third-party validator, or the person you're using. Is this person they're calling an expert actually an expert? Do they seem like they're on social media a lot, building their business? Do they seem like they know what they're doing? If you put me in a text, nobody can see any of that. I don't even know, like when we go back to those text strings, I can't even remember whose phone number is whose and whose name should be attached to that phone number. It makes it very confusing. Secondly, when we house everything pretty much through Facebook, between our team page and our guides and the bots and all of that all runs off of Facebook. So if we can keep most things there, it keeps people very organized in knowing what to do and where to go for all the things. It immediately gets them immersed in the culture of how we build. It immediately gets them versed in the social media aspect of this. And when you bring them on, they're already comfortable with being in a three-way chat. So when you add them to the team pages and you add them to the trial bot, that's all done in Messenger. You add them to the 14-day promoter training bot, that's all done in Messenger. Those things are so important and they work really, really well. So we want to make sure that we're doing things in that. We want to make sure we're doing things that work and that duplicate very easily. That's what I wanted to say. Sorry. Somebody was pulling in the driveway and I was like, wow, I'm out of time. Okay. So I think I covered most of what I wanted to cover. Do intro early. You will have the scripts. I will add those right after that. Follow up if the person is not responding. Pick a good third-party validator. It might be somebody different each time. It might be your sponsor. It might be somebody up a few levels. It might be somebody who's you've agreed to like tag team and hold each other accountable doing three-way chats. Do not talk after you introduce your third party and they start going. Don't be interjecting your thoughts in there. It is something that will ruin the purpose of that third party validation chat very quickly. And overall, the major purpose, you guys, is to show people how easy this is to do and how they will have help doing it. The minor purpose is actually to get the validation that the product actually works, right? And so I challenge you to really go out after this, use some of those scripts, make some of them your own, and really start using the third-party validation system along with that sales funnel flow. And I think you guys are going to be really surprised at how fast this business can move and how many more people will say, well, gosh, I would love to do what you do. That seemed simple. You have systems, you have tools, you have technology, and you have people that help you. I can't tell you how many people in the last couple of weeks have really been driving that point home to me. I used to do this before. It was never this easy. I have done other businesses before. I never got this kind of support. We have something special here on this team, you guys. We have tools, we have technology, and we have all of the things that you need and your newest person needs to grow a phenomenal business and a phenomenal team. We just got to plug them into all the right places. And the third-party validation chat is the easiest thing to do once you get used to doing it. And if you introduce the person early, you'll always have that chat to then go back to when they have more questions, and it won't have to be introduced later. And just a quick, I'll go, because I have these boards, this board already set up. I have one on let's say you get all the way to sending a sample out to somebody, and you're like, gosh, I haven't entered the third party validation. This came up the other day on a call. So hadn't not getting very many questions about the product. So don't really have anywhere to insert, a third party. So when you go to send out a sample, I have a great one for that. We came up with it the other day. Hey, Sally, my friend Kim and I help every sample user to have the best experience together. I'm going to add her in case you have any additional questions, or I get really busy and you get your trial and want to ask me something, you'll have two of us, right? So there is an easy way to introduce a third-party validation chat, and it's not even necessarily validation at that point. It's just to help with the follow-up process and making sure that your friend Sally has all of her questions answered. And when she gets her sample and she's ready to make the sale, you have somebody in there to help with that. So there's another way to introduce it there once you've sent the sample out. I also have ones in here that segue into the promoter aspect of it. And what I can say is you just got to dig in and start doing it. Okay. Those who are doing it are growing pretty quickly and closing a lot more deals, I promise. One last thing I will say, if you add people to a third party chat, maybe unless there's like a reason to, I had made this recommendation to Shar the other day. She's got somebody new in Canada that they're working on bringing on as a promoter. I definitely want all of Shar's upline in that chat. But I also know that I'm the expert right now on bringing in Canadian promoters because we've not done this before. And I've just recently helped a big team come through for that. So I wanted to give Shar my support and help with that. But I also don't want her skipping over her sponsor and her upline to have me do those chats, because I know what happens when that starts, and it's not a good thing. So you want to involve those who are involved. At the same time, be careful how many people are you adding to a three-way chat, and be careful what you're utilizing it for. It's supposed to be to validate, to sell, to get it done, right? All the team camaraderie, all the cheering, all of the hype, all of that can be done in the team chat once they're on board. Okay. So I just wanted to leave you with those few things. I hope this was helpful and beneficial. I really hope that you guys will start using the third-party validation chats. I know you're going to see your business move a lot faster if you do. And I hope that I've answered some questions for you guys. This was short and sweet, and sorry I had to record it, but you know what? Sometimes life gets in the way and we got to move things around. So I appreciate your patience on that. And because it's recorded, I will get it on our YouTube channel as well.